It's your fourth starting lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals. Rafael Furcal having a resurgent season. Beltran and Holiday. Craig just back from the DL. This is the best offensive team, bar none, in the National League. They've had some pitching problems, but the Cardinals 3 games over 500 because of their offense.
Santana encouraging the young man who just threw out the first pitch. Said that was a strike. Well, he's thrown a lot of strikes. His last start, that shutout, 9 pitches in 5 of the 9 innings. He kept that pitch count down and had a complete game shutout.
Met defense brought to you by Lexus. And, well, Josh is back. First start since the concussion. It's been a while since he's been in the lineup, and he's been missed. He's been hitting really well for the Metsies, and his defense was much improved. Quintanilla still at shortstop. Tejada still healing that quad down in Florida. Baxter gets another start in left field. He's earned that, that's for sure.
By the way, if you're wondering which of the backup catchers the Mets chose to keep, they have kept Mike Nickius on the roster, sent Rob Johnson back to Buffalo. And interesting to see Josh using the hockey mask. He had said after he suffered the concussion on the hit from Ty Wigginton that he might go with this mask, and indeed he has followed through on it.
Well, he's going to try to deflect some of those shots that come right back, the foul tips. But remember, he injured his head because he thought he had a play on the baseball, threw his mask off, and that's why he was exposed to the elbow from Wigginton.
Mike Matheny, his first year as Cardinal manager, 41 years old, youngest manager in the majors, and that's his bench coach, Mike Aldretti. I think Mr. Matheny's hiding behind the post.
Matheny was one of the guys. That's Mark McGuire. He can't hide behind anything. Mike Matheny was one of the first catchers to wear that hockey style mask also.
By the way, Mark's tried. So Furcal will lead things off. Rafael Furcal, now 34 years old, and after a couple of injury pockmarked seasons, he's having maybe his best start in the big leagues. .391 on base percentage, as he has fueled the front of this high potency Cardinal lineup. The Cardinals lead the National League in batting average, in home runs, and in runs scored. Last time they had that trifecta for a full year was 1944. So Santana ready to go. First pitch to Furcal, and it's taken for ball 1.
You can also add #1 in on-base percentage and slugging percentage. So this is quite a juggernaut here. They got a lot of their players back, 2 of them back. They've had their share of injuries.
And they still have some. Lance Berkman obviously is a big loss for them. They've got Skip Schumacher on the disabled list right now.
John Jay,
who was having center fielder.
He was having a heck of a year.
And Santana gets the outside corner with a fastball, and it's 1-2. Furcal hitting .367 as a right-hand batter this year. They got him in the middle of last season, and he really helped fuel that Cardinal run down the stretch to the World Series last season. 2-2 to Furcal, but he had missed a huge portion of the year because of a thumb injury. He had an oblique issue as well, but he's been fully healthy this year and really fueling this St. Louis offense. Down the right field side, a foul ball.
You know what's interesting about Terry Collins talking today? He was mentioning that Santana, after he came out, pitched a complete game shutout. Terry was like, boy, Johan, that's as good as I've seen you in a long time. He said, not really. I really have to start commanding my fastball a lot better. So the perfectionist Santana still looking for ways to improve.
And Furcal takes below the knees, 90 miles an hour from Johan. It's 3-2. Santana did not walk a batter in his complete game shutout of the Padres. He struck out 7 in that game, allowed just 4 hits. He was completely dominant through just 96 pitches. And Furcal loops one into center. Late start in for Nieuwenhuis, but he gets there for the first out of the night. And now Carlos Beltran.
The center fielder, #3, Carlos Beltran.
Very interesting to contrast the mostly positive reaction to Beltran with the decidedly mixed reaction that met the return of Jose Reyes when he came in with the Marlins. Beltran leading the National League in home runs with 15, and he takes a strike. And I think so much of that has to do with the way they left. You know, one leaves as a free agent, the other leaves via a trade, and it, in fans' minds, it makes a big difference.
Yes, no question.
Fans' minds, he gave them lots of thrills, and upon leaving, left them with a pretty good pitcher who had a nice start last night, Zach Wheeler.
Pitcher who's being proclaimed by some independent sources as the best pitching prospect in the minor leagues, Zach Wheeler. And the fastball up and away, 2-1 to Beltran.
Well, I'm excited about all 4 of those pitching prospects down there in the minor leagues, and we're talking about Familia, Mejia coming back off the surgery.
Broken back grounder foul. Lawn dart.
And of course, Matt Harvey to go along with Wheeler. Now that's how you build from within. And I think those 4 guys down there are a lot of good, promising signs if they stay healthy and keep improving.
You see what Beltran said to Tolley? Oh, that was my good bat.
Well, Carlos has had some issues with his knee off and on this year. In fact, he sat out the Cardinals' last game on Wednesday when the knee acted up a little bit. But it's well enough that he's playing center field tonight. First time he will do that in 2 years. And Santana with a great changeup strikes him out for the second out of the inning.
Jams him, Ronnie, with a fastball, and then comes back with a change.
Yeah, and the changeup, interestingly enough, Tolley with the inside target and just threw that down and in to Beltran, who to me is a high ball hitter from the right side.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now the very dangerous Matt Holliday, who's been swinging the bat very well lately. You see that 8 for 15 over his last 4 games. When this Cardinal lineup is fully available and healthy, it is a lineup that has no soft spots in it. It's a little different right now down at the bottom of the batting order, but just getting through the first 6 in this Cardinal lineup is quite a task. And you see a lot of ones.
Oh, jeez. 30 more home runs than the Mets have hit this year.
Holliday with 10 home runs on the season. Now in his 4th year with the Cardinals. Alan Craig fresh off the disabled list, waiting on deck.
And Craig had pulled his left hamstring.
That coming after offseason knee surgery that cost him the first month of the season. 2-1, and Holliday fouls it off. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
One thing I've noticed, and you guys, I didn't do the last Santana game, is that his fastball is down for the most part here in that first inning. That has been an issue for him this season. Location of his fastball has been up a good part of the year.
2-2 to Holliday. In the air to right, and Duda moving to his left. Side retired. Santana spaces a couple of fly balls around a strikeout of Beltran, and the Mets will come to bat against Wainwright. Here's your Geico Mets starting lineup, and with Tolley back in, the Mets have 8, count them 8 left-handed bats tonight against 30-year-old Adam Wainwright. First man up, Mike Baxter, and he takes a strike.
Well, interesting. Wainwright started Baxter with the first pitch cutter. You can see so far his starts uneven until the last few, and 70 and 40 on his career.
2 starts back. He threw a shutout against the Padres. Then his last outing allowed just 1 run in 6 innings against the Phillies. So Wainwright appears to be all the way back.
You saw the velocity at 88 right there in that fastball. It says his velocity is down this year, but again, he had the surgery last year.
You know, his velocity is down, but they've been trying to work with him to use his fastball more. He felt like his velocity is down, so he's really just using his secondary pitches, but has gone to the fastball more the last couple of starts.
And Baxter takes the fastball up and in. Wainwright, the year before his surgery, averaged about 91 on his fastball. He's a little below 90 this year, but really with the cutter and the curveball, it's really not that huge an issue for him. And there's that curveball, devastating as always. Wainwright strikes out Baxter. Molino makes the toss to complete the putout, and that's the first out.
Well, I tell you what, when you have a good curveball like that, you're going to win.
And he has 70 wins and 40 losses in his major league career. Here's Kirk Neuenhuis with one out.
An interesting note about Carpenter, of course, is on the disabled list this year, Chris, his battery mate. And Wainwright, last year, Carpenter was 0-4 in April. And Wainwright, of course, was on the disabled list, so there was no wins from the big two. This year, Wainwright starts out 0-3 in April, and there's no Chris Carpenter.
But unlike last year, the Cardinals got off to a great start this season, even without any wins from their top two starters. May was a bit more of a problem for the Cardinals. They went just 13-16. Up and into Neuenhuis 2-1.
I think a lot of the injuries kind of hampered their May.
And like the Mets, their bullpen has been a big problem. 2-1 to Neuenhuis with David Wright on deck. The wind really gusting out of the east now. Threw that fastball by him, and it's 2-2.
He's got his fastball upstairs, RJ.
Well, that's where you're going to go if you're pitching Kirk Neuenhuis. Upstairs with the fastball, bounce the breaking ball.
He pounded Baxter upstairs too.
And the curveball got him. So back-to-back strikeouts for Wainwright. Both put away curveballs, and there are 2 out and nobody on.
And the Cardinal Coors Light defense. There's the 3-time Gold Glover out there. His first start in 2 years, I guess, for Mr. Beltran. The first one this year for sure.
Necessitated by first the injury to John Jay, and most recently the injury to Skip Schumacher, who was really the other available center fielder for the Cardinals. So here's David Wright with 2 out and nobody on. David just 2 for his last 23, but both those hits have been RBI hits. Smacks one right at the second baseman. Tyler Green can't make the play initially, but recovers to throw out right and get Wainwright through the opening inning. So the Mets are on 1-2-3. On to the second, no score. Johan Santana, after setting the Cardinals down 1-2-3 in the first, will face Alan Craig leading off in the second inning. Craig, as we mentioned, just back from the disabled list, had a hamstring injury. No rehab games for him. He'll just jump right back in. But Craig's one of those guys, you can wake him up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can probably get 3 hits. Cardinals had a log jam at the first base and outfield positions when the year began, but because of injuries, the log jam has never really presented itself for Mike Matheny. Craig's had only 51 at bats. He's hitting .373. Had offseason knee surgery that cost him all of April. Just coming into his own at age 27 out of Cal. There's Mike Matheny, youngest manager in the majors right now, with no prior experience either as a big league coach or as a minor league manager or as anything else for that matter.
Both he and Robin Ventura are doing just fine.
Well, Matheny was always a manager in the making when he was a player. This one's driven to center field by Craig right off the DL. A long drive run down by Neuenhuis for the first down.
You know, I think when I think of Mike Matheny, the daunting task for him is not the team. This is a team that's coming off a world championship, so he's got the players. Daunting task always is replacing kind of a iconic manager in Tony La Russa. And he said, when I talked to Mike, he said, I'm definitely going to do some of the same things that Tony did, especially in spring training. But really, my mentor was Felipe Alou when I was in San Francisco.
Here's last year's postseason hero, David Freese, MVP of both the LCS and the World Series. 2 of the most memorable hits in World Series history came off Freese's bat in that incredible Game 6 win over the Rangers. Good slider by Santana, and it's 0-2. Freese got off to a great start this year as well, but he's really cooled down lately. You see what he did last October.
He's got a sore right wrist, and he hasn't been put on the DL. It's been kind of a day-to-day thing. So he's got a little bit of discomfort with the. If you got a bad wrist, it's a little difficult to hit. Your wrists are so important to hitting.
And if you know it as a pitcher, you got to jam him because Freese is a guy who has tremendous power to center and right field.
Santana throwing a lot of sliders in the early going tonight. Threw fewer sliders in his last start against the Padres. Didn't really need it against that team. Yadier Molina waiting on deck. And Freese lays off the changeup. And check it out down at first. And Lance Barksdale agrees. No swing. 3-2 to Freese, the hometown St. Louisan, who had his career derailed by injury after injury before finally blossoming and then bursting onto the national scene last year. 3-2, and the changeup misses for ball 4. So the Cardinals have the first base runner for either side, a 1-out walk to Freese. Well, there's a lot different with the Cardinals this year. Not only Tony La Russa retiring, but also Dave Duncan, his longtime pitching coach, and you might want to throw Albert Pujols into that mix. He was rather iconic in St. Louis as well. So much has changed with the Cardinals, but this guy remains the same.
And having an amazing offensive year. Had a big year last year, but has turned it up a notch.
And is raging hot right now, hitting .500 over his last 7 games, and he takes outside for ball 1. Molina now 4th in the National League in batting, hitting .333. It's been a banner year for offensive catchers in the National League, but this guy isn't an offensive catcher.
Yeah.
He's a Gold Glove catcher.
A platinum glove.
8 home runs on the year so far for Molina.
And Santana didn't get that call. 2-0. There are your batting leaders in the National League right now, and 2 catchers amongst the top 5.
Wow.
Don't see that very often.
It's interesting that Molina with 8 home runs last year was a career high of only 14. So he is really off to a terrific start.
Now Santana behind him, 2-0. And Yadier takes it down, 3-0. I read something today that I couldn't believe. I was looking at some of Molina's numbers. Of course, he hit the deciding home run in Game 7 against the Mets in '06. Do you know that Yadier's never had a regular season home run against the Mets? 135 at bats.
Oh, but he had a big one.
If you're a Met fan, that's enough.
It's a trade-off. Right?
Yeah, right.
Back-to-back walks issued by Santana. That's been a rarity this year.
You know, for Johan, he's going to have to kind of flip the book here, facing this disciplined Cardinal team.
Yep.
It's not like facing the Padres, where they're swinging as soon as the ball's halfway to the plate.
Matt Adams, the big first baseman, comes up. There's your umpiring team. Gary Cederstrom, the crew chief, has the plate tonight. Lance Barksdale, Fielding Culberth, Adrian Johnson rounding out the crew. Matt Adams, who provides an imposing presence at the plate, just 23 years old. They called him up about 10 days ago with all the injuries they've had, and he's taken over at first base, and he takes a strike. He's the only left-handed bat in the Cardinal lineup tonight. Cardinals, after Pujols left, gave the first base job to Lance Berkman, and he's been hurt. Matt Carpenter did a nice job for a while. He's been hurt, and now Adams inherits that job.
Big shift. Well, they say this guy looks a little pudgy and a little soft, but he's got a very short swing, and he's been called up and really hit. You can tell he's a big, strong kid.
Yeah, I'm not going to make any comments. You look like you twist your head off.
12th game Adams has started for the Cardinals. Santana's ahead of him 0-2 with 2 men on. Freese is at second, Molina at first. They both walked. Santana hasn't walked more than 3 batters in a game all year. So the back-to-back walks, a bit of a surprise. Matt Adams from Slippery Rock University. What a rarity it is for a player from Slippery Rock to get to the big leagues. The last major leaguer from Slippery Rock University was Bob Shalke, who pitched for the Yankees in the 19-teens and 20s.
Oh, man.
His last major league game was 1927. So from 1927 till 2012, no Slippery Rock products in the big leagues, but now Matt Adams representing. And And Santana gets him with a changeup. Second strikeout for Johan in the second out of the inning.
Interesting, the older players worked out 2 walks, or the more veteran players, and here the younger player, Keith, goes down.
Well, Santana's always going to have his way with young hitters. So we're looking for a fastball.
So 2 out and 2 on. Now Tyler Green, the second baseman. Green, former #1 draft pick of the Cardinals from Georgia Tech. Hitting just .227 on the year. And he takes the changeup down for ball 1. Freese and Molina the base runners with 2 out. And Santana, for the 3rd time in this inning, is behind in the count 2-0. So Johan throwing a lot of pitches here in the second. As Ronnie noted earlier, his last 5 innings against San Diego in that shutout, each of those 5 innings he threw only 9 pitches. That's hard to do. And Green takes a strike, 2-1. Johan is back pitching with an extra day of rest in this start. He had 4 straight starts in which he went on regular rest because the Mets played 20 days without a day off. And having trouble getting the Cardinals to bite at that changeup. Now he's behind 3-1.
Well, I don't think you can pitch around Green. You're going to have to go after him. Wainwright's a pretty good athlete on the on-deck circle.
Let's see what Green gets here on 3-1 with 2 out and 2 on. And he got another changeup. 3-2.
It's amazing. You're supposed to be throwing a fastball in this situation. Just raises that changeup just a bit for a strike.
That's the one thing I found out when I came up to the big leagues when I was 20 years old. It was no more longer getting the 3-1 fastball
Every time you get it.
That's right.
So now the runners, Freese and Molina, will be off. 3-2 and 2 out. And Green takes strike 3 call. Fastball in the inside corner. So Santana, after back-to-back walks, puts up back-to-back strikeouts. Lucas Duda to lead off the bottom of the second. No score. Last we saw Lucas Duda, he was homering in his final 2 at-bats on Wednesday night against the Phillies. His second career multiple home run game and his first 2 ever big league home runs against left-handed pitching. Lucas now has 7 for the year to lead the team, and he floats that one toward the middle of the diamond for Call on the run to grab it for the out.
He came out of nowhere.
Well, for Carl's healthy this year. He's had health issues the last several, 3-4 years.
Toughest part of that play was getting Field and Colbreth out of the way. Passing route, linebacker goes away from the football. There you go.
That's where the umpire stands in football too.
That's right. Right
behind the middle linebacker.
It bowled over by the pulling guard.
Here's Daniel Murphy riding a 5-game hitting streak, back over 300 on the year, and he rips one foul. Murph now 193 at bats deep in his season and still looking for his first home run. And a slow ground ball for Green to handle, and there are 2 out. So 2 up and 2 quickly disposed of by Adam Wainwright, he of the outstanding curveball.
Well, what he does is that he has that finger off the ball, the middle finger on, but it's the thumb that is cupped underneath the baseball that really makes the difference. He holds it with the seams now, guys. If you're home trying to work on your curveball with the seams, use that middle finger, keeps this finger off. But even more importantly, the horseshoe, you cup your thumb like that so you can pull down with the middle finger and jam it with your thumb. Pull and push. Best curveball you can ever have.
Thank gosh Not too many guys know that.
Ike Davis takes a strike. Well, clearly everybody does know that if you're a pitcher. So why is his better than most?
Well, he has extremely big hands. If you watch, so he really can grip the baseball kind of loosely in his fingers. It doesn't compromise his hand to be on it, so it's a natural thing. And then the other thing is that he's just so darn strong. He's 6'5", 235, 240. Just a very strong individual that can really get as much revolutions as you can. That's the key. How many times can you get that ball turning as quickly as you can? Those are the great curveballs.
Precisely.
And there's the curve to Ike Davis for a strike, 1-2.
Notice how Ike's getting curveballs. Everybody else, he's pounded pretty much fastballs in, establishing fastball. And there's the grip again, RJ.
And he has a kind of a shorter stride for a big guy, so that gets his hand on top quickly and gets that downward movement.
And Garrett, every great curveballer I ever faced, Blyleven, Don Sutton, Carlton, they had the extraordinary spin on the ball. You could see it as a hitter at the plate.
Sometimes it even whistled. It was that quick.
2-2 to Ike, and he fouls it off. Doc Gooden in that category too.
Doc was different. Doc just manipulated the ball with his fingers in such a way that he just pulled down on it, and it would start at 6'4", 6'5", and it would just go straight down from the mound. He had a very unusual curveball. Doc held it 4 seams. Only person I've ever met to hold a curveball 4 seams.
2-2 to Davis. And that curveball misses down, and Ike able to wait it out to a 3-2 count.
This is a good at bat. I mean, curveballs that we've seen as soon as they're halfway to the plate, Ike swings at. Now gets himself in a better hitting count.
Well, at this point, the way he's been pitched this year, he's got to be saying to himself, "This is the adjustment I need to make."
3-2 hook.
Oh,
and the emergency hack keeps him alive.
Ouch. Well, that's because, watch, he's expended already. He's out in front, nothing left but arms. And that's just, oh boy. That's one you want to edit out of the highlight films.
Cut her in right here.
And he walked him, and the Mets have their first base runner of the night. So Wainwright, who like Santana, walks very few, 2.6 per 9 innings. He issues his first free pass, and here's Josh Toley for his first at bat. Josh out since being waylaid by Ty Wigginton's wayward shoulder in Philadelphia on May the 7th. So he's missed better than 3 weeks. Had an at bat as a DH on Wednesday, a game of catch last night with Chris Young, and now right back on a big league field. And by the way, quite a job by Chris Young in that rehab start with Toley yesterday.
6 shutout innings. What, a couple of hits he gave up? That's it?
That 10:30 in the morning start.
It's good for old guys. And he's got kids, so he's used to waking up early.
Takes a lot of coffee to get the hitters on time. And Toley lashes one foul, and it's 1-1.
I asked Josh when I saw him today, I said, what was it like being down there and having an extended spring? He said, it was the worst. Sometimes the umpires wouldn't show up. The games wouldn't start on time. It was just, please, he said, send me somewhere where there's an organized team.
Josh, who grew up a Cardinal fan in Southern Illinois, playing against his boyhood team in his return to the lineup tonight. And the curveball bounced foul, 1-2.
Well, Wainwright, excuse me, looks very sharp. And Ronnie, you mentioned it earlier. He is establishing on this 5% left-hand hitting lineup. He is establishing the fastball in.
Yeah.
First time through the order.
Rain out in Washington tonight. That's the rain that's on the way here. Here's the 1-2, and the fastball in there for a call, strike 3. So Toley down looking. Wainwright has his 3rd strikeout. Santana and Wainwright matching zeros early. 3rd inning, Adam Wainwright leads off against Johan Santana. Wainwright just 1 for 22 at the plate this year, but a lifetime .211 hitter with 5 home runs. He can swing the bat.
Yeah, 16 doubles too, so he's got some pop.
Well, you know, he's rehabbing his hitting too, coming back from Tommy John surgery.
Well, it doesn't help to face Santana, I'll tell you that.
Johan has already struck out 3. And Wainwright hits a 2-hopper to right. Ball comes up for David, and he makes the play, 1 away. By the way, David made some news before the game today, talking with Ed Coleman on the pregame show on WFAN. He said definitively he does not want to talk about a contract extension with the Mets during the season. There's been a lot of conversation by ownership, by people speculating about David and his contract status, and he put that to rest for the moment. Said during the season, no negotiations.
Eddie Coleman making like Mike Wallace. Very good.
That's what he should do. Ed's down there. He's an investigative reporter.
And everybody's friend.
That's right.
1 out and nobody on. Here's Rafael Furcal, who flied to center his first time. He bluffs the bunt and takes the changeup for a strike. But I think that's the right thing for David to say.
Yes.
Even if it's not true.
Yeah, right.
Because then everybody stops asking him questions.
Yeah.
I mean, how many questions has he already had to answer since Ryan Zimmerman signed that contract extension during spring training?
Here it goes this way. I am not talking about the contract this year. Well, are your agents going to talk about it? I am not talking about the contract this year. That's your answer.
Focus on the field.
Yep.
And then if stuff happens behind the scenes and they announce a contract, well, that's the way it goes. Duda moves over to the edge of the warning track to grab the fly ball by Furcal for the second out.
You got to pay the 10% for something, don't you?
That's exactly right. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Carlos Beltran bats for the second time. Santana got him swinging at a changeup his first time up. Carlos is in the top 10 in virtually every important career category for the Mets. Home runs, RBIs. He's 6th in both of that categories, and right about the same place in on base percentage and slugging percentage. Throw in the Gold Glove work, and you know he is, by just about any measure, one of the greatest players the Mets have ever had.
Right. He's by far the best center fielder that they've ever had.
You see some of the all-time ranks. Very nice graphic, guys. Very nice.
He might be, to me anyways, one of the best athletes that's ever wore a Mets uniform.
Line to short and snagged by Quintanilla. So Santana has a 1-2-3 inning. He threw 9 pitches, 9 strikes. No score in the third. Omar Quintanilla leads off the home third inning against Adam Wainwright. Quintanilla's 3rd game as a Met. Went 3 for 4 in his first game on Tuesday, 0 for 4 on Wednesday. And now back for another go-round. Ruben Tejada was here today, running in the outfield before the game. Easy grounder for Adams to handle 1 away. The plan is for Ruben to run the bases tomorrow, and if that goes well, he should be ready to start a rehab stint. Meanwhile, Jason Bay may be even closer to coming back. Jason's going to DH this weekend down in St. Lucie. Maybe play a game or 2 in the outfield early next week if that goes well, and could be back with the Mets by the middle of next week, or by the latest the Yankee series next weekend.
Could spend a whole half inning on the health report every day, couldn't we?
Well, the good news is that things appear to be looking up for the Mets as far as getting some of their injured players back, with Toley back today and those other 2 on the horizon. Mets also made a couple of bullpen moves, bringing in young Elvin Ramirez to join the bullpen tonight, as Santana goes down on the curveball, and Molina will make the toss for the second out. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com.
Is that the old curveball machine right there?
That's old Jugsy with the 2 wheels.
Never seen the wheel where you could actually see it spinning. That's outstanding.
That machine cost me 26 stitches below my eye. I was in college. They had a Jugsy machine, and sometimes it comes out like a knuckleball.
Yes.
And I used to wear glasses then, right into the glasses, into the cheekbone, 26 stitches later.
And the next time you stepped in against the Jugs gun,
bring it on.
That's right.
Right?
Tough
That's
guy.
right.
0-2 to Mike Baxter.
Every now and again, you're right, because I've hit my share off those machines.
Yeah.
He always hated it because there's no motion. There's no motion in a pitching machine.
It's like someone spitting sunflower seeds.
Even the old Iron Mike that had the would come like a windmill at you. You had no motion, and it was just, I hated those things. The only one I liked was the old 2 tires, the curveball machine.
Yep.
Another slow grinder for Tyler Green. He throws out Baxter, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Adam Wainwright. 2 pitchers on top of their game. 2 guys who missed all of last year. They're looking good. Let's look at our AT&T trivia question for today. His next stolen base, Carlos Beltran, will become the 8th member of the 300-300 club. How many of the other 7 can you name?
Nice. That's a good one.
Matt Holliday leads off for the Cardinals in the 4th inning. Holliday flied to right his first time up. Are there 2 guys with the same last name?
I think so.
There's at least 1 active.
Yes.
And now Santana falls behind Holliday 2-0. Alan Craig and David Freese to follow. The wind has been whipping tonight. Weather has cooled down. Some storms may arrive later this evening. You getting royalties off that shirt?
Oh.
My youngest daughter has that shirt.
She does?
Yeah, Mary. She likes to get even with me when she wears that shirt.
She does.
It doesn't say you're her houseboy. Here's the 3-0, and Holliday takes a strike. Santana had an easy inning in the 3rd. 1-2-3, just 9 pitches after a rough second in which he walked a pair and had to wriggle out of trouble.
He's got a pretty big swing, Matt Holliday, but good hand-eye coordination and pretty good timing usually.
Yeah, he's had good career.
Big leg kick.
Very good career.
And just missed, ball 4. Santana walks his 3rd of the night. So the leadoff man on for the first time for the Cardinals with Alan Craig coming up. Craig flied to pretty deep center field his first time up. The biggest problem the Cardinals have had with Craig over the years is figuring out where to play him.
Yeah.
He's a 3rd baseman in college at Cal, and
well, the same time they were trying Schumacher at second base, they tried to move him over there, but he's a little a big bodied, as they say, for that position.
he profiles more as a corner guy anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could get his kind of offense at second base, that would be spectacular, but it doesn't happen often that way.
Very crouched at the waist. Craig is wearing Kurt Flood's number, I believe.
I don't think you can play him in center.
No, not like Kurt anyway.
Popped up. Murphy with the angle coming over, but Ike will take it, and that's the first out. The wind is really playing tricks with the ball right now. Have an odd weather pattern for June the 1st.
June gloom right here.
Did you get that was the San Francisco phenomenon.
That's right.
June swoon.
June swoon in San Francisco, June gloom in Los Angeles. Did you guys catch the HBO special on Kurt Flood? It was amazing. I think it was
did.
HBO.
It was a
documentary.
It was terrific.
Kurt and his life.
David Freese hits it to center field, playable for Neuenhuis, and that's the second out. Well, every modern Major League Baseball player should pay homage to Kurt Flood, because if it weren't for Kurt and his great courage at challenging the powers that be and the reserve clause back in the 60s, none of the riches that have come to players over the last 40 years would have happened.
Well, he was traded to Philadelphia Phillies, who were the doormats of the National League for so long, and by the Cardinals, and he refused to go and challenge the system. And the two pitchers that held out,
Andy Messersmith and Dave McNally,
they held out, and that also was took a lot of guts.
Well, what they did is they played basically without a contract, because at that time teams had the option on your contract for every following season. So they said, okay, we'll play out our option, then we should become free agents after that year. And the arbitrator ruled in their favor, and that set the whole free agent system in motion. But without Flood, there's no Messersmith and McNally.
Correct. But three very courageous men, and just think about the attitude of the owners towards those three guys. I mean, talk about getting blackballed. Those guys were. It just took a lot of guts.
Well, it basically ended Flood's career.
Oh.
And had a tremendous impact on his life as well.
Yes.
Molina walked his first time up. But I don't know, I've never been in a union meeting. You guys have.
Yeah.
But I would think that every Major League Baseball Players Association union meeting should begin with a tribute to Curt Flood.
Right. You're right. Well, I was a Cardinal player rep, and as a Cardinal player rep, and Lou was still playing. Lou always said go in there and get some kind of help for Curt, because he was really destitute. And he wouldn't accept any. I remember Marvin Miller telling me, this will end the inning right here. This pop-up, Marvin Miller real quickly just said he won't accept anything from us. We've offered, he won't take it.
He was a hero, though, without question. Pitcher's battle continues. No score in the fourth. Not a houseboy, just remember. They're your City probable starters for the remainder of this series. R.A. Dickey, weather permitting, goes tomorrow against Lance Lynn. We'll talk more about that in a moment. John Neese Sunday night against Jake Westbrook, and then Monday afternoon Jeremy Hefner maybe gets another start for the Mets. Kirk Neuenhuis leads off in the home fourth and breaks his bat on his first swing. So let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt, who's sponsored tonight by Cholula Hot Sauce. Kevin,
nice to have a sponsor walking around the stadium, Garrett. A lot to carry. As we watch Kirk Neuenhuis hit here, and Ronnie, you touched on this on Wednesday night. I think Wally Backman's done a great job with Buffalo Bisons and all these guys that have come up here ready to play and ready, knowing what to expect. And I think that's been a big factor here in some of the success. Handing off to Terry Collins. I talked to a lot of the guys that have played for Wally. Not one of them had anything but I loved playing for him to say. Neuenhuis was one of those guys. Said absolutely loved him. Just loved him. He said, he remembers what it's like to play the game. He's so positive, constant positive reinforcement. That being said, he wants you to give it your all. You have to give it your all. He said, we were playing the Braves. I got to second base. First thing Dan Uggla said to me, hey, how'd you like playing for Wally Backman? Uggla played for him in the White Sox system. Loved him as well. I talked to Omar Quintanilla. What did he say? He said he brings out the best in you, but he's a character. Wally, a character? Well, I think we kind of know that too, but he's doing a great job. Guys, back to you.
Furcal has it go off the second base bag, and that cost him a chance to get Neuenhuis. A bouncer over the pitcher, to the base, off the bag, away from the shortstop. Well, and that's a hole in one.
You can see he made the decision too late there. He saw it was going to hit the bag and not there quick enough.
And that, my friends, is the first base hit for either side in this game. Right in the clown's mouth. So Neuenhuis aboard to start the fourth. Now David Wright grounded out to second base on the first pitch he saw tonight.
First pitch fastball away. Let's see what Wainwright starts him off with.
In the air to deep right center. Back goes Beltran to the warning track. At the wall, it's over his head. Neuenhuis racing for third. Beltran recovers. Tim Tuffle will hold Neuenhuis. It's a double for David Wright. Beltran playing center field for the first time in 2 years. Couldn't run it down.
Well, he misplayed this ball. He overran it. And he's trying to readjust. That should have been in his hip pocket. How I would never see that with Carlos.
Well, I think we talked about it before. The swirling winds are definitely a problem here at Citi Field tonight, and they got Beltran there.
It's an unusual wind pattern tonight, no question about it. But, you know, those are 35-year-old legs and not the healthiest of legs out there playing center field. He's pressed into service because of the injuries the Cardinals have had. So a chance for the Mets. Second and third, nobody out for Duda, and he hits one in the air to right. That should get a run home as Craig moves back. Tagging at third, Nieuwenhuis. Tagging at second is Wright. The wind carries it. Nieuwenhuis comes home. Wright heads to third. 1-0 New York. Sacrifice fly for Lucas Duda, his 27th run batted in.
Jumping on the first pitch.
More and more we're seeing that with Lucas.
Yes. I like it. Don't let him throw that fastball. A little cutter that left out over the plate. He just got under that. That could have been a 3-run shot. Just missed it.
Boy, but that wind's really playing a havoc with the baseball when it goes in the air. Now the infield will come in with Wright at third and 1 out. Daniel Murphy, the batter. And the curveball smacked toward the gap in right center field. Craig running over. He won't get there. Wright comes in to score. Murphy takes the turn. He's heading for third. And Murphy slides in with his first triple of the year. 2-0 New York.
Well, a little reverse here. That's another hanger. Curveball right here. Mets jumping on first pitches.
Well, we talked about Craig and his defense. He's just lumbering out there. No chance to get to that ball. And Murph immediately thinking 3.
Well, nice job by Murph. Little slide into third. This inning, single, double, triple by the Mets.
This is not the triples ballpark that it used to be. For Murphy, it's his 10th career triple. And so now the infield has to stay in for the Cardinals. Already with a 2-0 lead. Mets looking for more. The infield in with Ike Davis at the plate. So Wainwright, who was just about spotless over the first 3 innings, finding trouble in the 4th. It all began with that bouncing ball off the second base bag by Nieuwenhuis for an infield hit. But the next 3 pitches, double by Wright, sac fly by Duda, triple by Murphy. Davis walked his first time up. And Ike fouls it back. And Wainwright, needing a strikeout, gets ahead 0-2. Six out of 13. A little less productive than you'd like, getting that runner in from third with less than 2 out. Josh Thole on deck. Wainwright has struck out 4 tonight. And a good block by Molina. Nobody does it better.
He just surrounds himself around the baseball, and he just leans his body and head over the ball, hovering over it to make sure that it bounces straight into the dirt in front of him. Textbook.
4 straight Gold Gloves. And probably will win it as long as he plays. Now it's 1-2 to Davis. And Wainwright bounces another curve. Confident that Molina will smother it.
And he's just doing that on purpose because Ike's been fishing. And don't be surprised if he comes upstairs and up and in, Ronnie, out of the strike zone now.
You're right. 2 curveballs in the dirt. Gets the 2-2. Cutter in to try to get surprise Ike inside.
Change up.
No, back to the cutter.
Yeah.
And then you can throw a 3-2 curve if Ike takes it.
But Davis hits it sharply, surrounded by Green, and holding at third is Murphy. 2 out. Interesting that Murph was
not contact,
stuck there, especially with that ball hit in a spot where Green had to lunge for it.
It's a quick decision to make. And it's not far enough away, really. It was just for like 5 feet to his left, to Green's left.
Any chance you read that as a line drive off the bat as a third base runner?
No, the ground ball all the way.
All right.
It's just it's a matter of how far is it to the left of the second baseman. It's too close.
So now the infield back with 2 out, and Thole skips out of the way. Josh went down looking his first time up, and his first at bat coming off the disabled list. Josh was having a fine offensive season when he went down. Now trying to pick up where he left off. And the curveball bounced slowly, ranging very wide as Adams, and gets it over to Wainwright to end the inning. But the Mets cash a pair against Wainwright in the second. New and Ice started with a lucky hit, right with a double, Duda a sac fly, and then Daniel Murphy with his first triple of the season makes it 2-0 New York. Fifth inning, Johan Santana now staked to a 2-0 lead. Matt Adams will lead off for the Cardinals in the top of the fifth. Santana's walked 3, struck out 3. Adams struck out his first time up, and the Mets put the full shift on against him.
There it is, the triangle. Tim Tuffle in charge of the positioning of the defense. There's Timmy.
And Santana, who has had some at bats tonight in which he's fallen behind 2-0, 3-0, finds himself in that situation again. And there's ball 4. And so for the second straight inning, Santana's walked the leadoff hitter. Tyler Green coming up. Let's check in with Kevin.
You look at Josh Thole back from that concussion, Gary, and you guys touched on it earlier. He's got that hockey style helmet on now, and it's not to honor the Devils or the Rangers. It's a little bit more protection. I asked him about it before the game. He said it's heavier, a little bit better protection. He feels also protection on the side of the head. And the good news, well, at least it was a good test. Yesterday, catching that game against Chris Young, took a foul ball right off his forehead, and the mask said he was totally fine. So he felt it was nice to kind of get that test out of the way, guys.
It's important to remember with Thole that the concussion that he suffered 3 weeks ago was not his first. In fact, it was at least his third and maybe his fourth since his pro baseball career began.
You know, a lot of these, well, maybe not as many as there used to be, but a lot of these athletes, you see the umpire with his mask, pretty ornate. A lot of these guys, you know, played high school football, and you know, those things will tend to happen, especially in those sports.
And you know, we're now reaching an era where every concussion is monitored closely, but for these guys who've been playing sports for the last 10-15 years, earlier in their lives, maybe they suffered a concussion and nobody mentioned it. Nobody knew. Here's the 0-2 to Green, and it's up and away.
I'll never forget the first one I ever got was my freshman year in high school. I was playing varsity football, Keith, and I was too little to play the sport, to tell you the truth, and had one, and only my dad knew. He said, "Listen, son, I'm going to stay with you. We're staying up all night. You cannot go to bed." You know, he knew that when he had a concussion, that you couldn't close your eyes and sleep. You had to stay up.
I got my first concussion in Pop Warner football. Did the without pads. We did the day before the warm-up, going through all the plays with just without pads.
Yeah.
A goofy kid from Oklahoma, defensive end. He was real aggressive, and I was just supposed to block him. He came in and we broke my nose with his forehead. I had bad sinus the rest of my life because of that kid. I forget his name.
Well, that's because you had the leather helmet on. You didn't have the
Green goes down looking for the second time. I can't believe you remember he's from Oklahoma. We were talking about Chris Young, and he pitched for Buffalo yesterday. 6 scoreless innings at the game that started at 10:30 in the morning. And there seems to be some discussion about maybe Chris coming up and pitching for the Mets before he gets another rehab start. In fact, there are a lot of pitching plans right now for the Mets that are kind of up in the air the next few days. But one thing is for certain is that the Mets will have Chris Young up and pitching in their rotation sometime soon, and will keep their fingers crossed for good health, because really the way Chris's career has gone, that's been the only thing that's ever held him back.
Correct. Yeah. Terry Collins asked today, is Chris Young in the discussions for that next spot in the rotation? He said yes, he is. He wouldn't go any further than that.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy Hefner right now is slated to pitch Monday, which is a day earlier than Young's turn would be. Since he pitched yesterday, his turn would be Tuesday. But the Mets have some other things going on right now, one of which is we mentioned that there's rain coming later tonight. It might last into tomorrow, and R.A. Dickey is scheduled to pitch tomorrow. And Terry Collins said before the game, look, we do not want R.A. to pitch in the rain. We did that in Atlanta. It was his worst game of the year. He can't pitch in the rain. So they might make a decision tomorrow, if they're going to be playing in any kind of wet weather, to scratch Dickey, put Hefner in that spot, move Dickey back to Sunday, and then you could roll into Young as early as Tuesday.
That's right. And it would be kind of a Hefner to go, hopefully 5 innings, maybe a Hefner Jack Egbert kind of game.
And you also have Miguel Batista in that mix. He's down on rehab and is eligible to come off the disabled list Monday as Wainwright goes down swinging for the second out of the inning. 5 strikeouts now for Santana to go with his 4 walks. Well, there are the numbers on Chris Young, and when he's been healthy, when he's been able to pitch in the major leagues, Texas, San Diego, Mets, he has been a vastly successful pitcher. And that was certainly the case in his 4 starts with the Mets last year before he went down with a similar shoulder injury to the one that Santana has returned from.
You would have 2 guys in the rotation coming back with that injury. To have one in the organization is a lot.
Coincidentally enough, as Rafael Furcal takes ball 1, Mark Pryor, who is probably the other most famous pitcher who suffered that same capsule surgery and has not been able to come back from it, was just promoted to AAA by the Red Sox, trying to complete his comeback. And in fact, Young was working out with Mark Pryor this past winter, and they were encouraging each other through their return from capsule surgery.
Well, I think what happens is when you get some of these injuries to the real fine players that play this game, it seems like the science gets a little better on how to rehab these players. It happens to Joe Schmo in AA. Well, maybe he doesn't get as much time or opportunity, but certainly when it happens to guys like Santana, you start to he becomes the test piece for what you do.
So far, he's passed the test with rather flying colors. And he gets Furcal with the changeup for the 2nd strike.
That's a high changeup here. So the speed beats him.
Yep, and completely out in front.
So now it's 1-2 to Furcal. Runner goes, and it's looped in the air to shallow left. Baxter coming on to make the grab. Side retired. Santana 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, no hits allowed through 5. 2-0 New York. Today before the game, SNY City presented the latest recipient of the SNY Play Ball Award, the Garfield Little League, with a $5,000 check to help them pay for proper equipment to keep their kids safe. Now it's your turn. Help your youth baseball or softball league with a $5,000 grant. Apply for the SNY Play Ball Award presented by City today at sny.tv/playball. Omar Quintanilla leads off in the home 5th inning. Quintanilla grounded out to first his first trip, and Wainwright throws that cutter in on him. 1-1. Quintanilla, then Santana and Baxter for the Mets in the home 5th as a little rain begins to fall. And Quintanilla gets all tied in a knot on another cutter, and it's 1-2. Mets got both their runs in the 4th. Duda and Murphy with the RBIs. This is an official game because we've played 4.5 with the home team leading, which may become an issue as the rain arrives on the scene. And that curveball misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Quintanilla. It can't be a rain delay tonight. Jeremy Hefner didn't start.
Yeah, right.
2-2 for Wainwright, and another curveball. This one gets Quintanilla, and Molina for the 3rd time tonight has to make the toss down to first. 5 strikeouts for Wainwright, 1 out and nobody on. Time for the inside pitch on Adam Wainwright, brought to you by the Xerox Business of Baseball. Xerox, ready for real business.
And the reason I say he's become a mini Carpenter. Being around Carp has only helped his progress as being a gamer and a leader out there in the mound. We've seen already first curveball in the National League, up there with the entire major leagues. An emotional start 10 days ago when he did throw that shutout against the San Diego Padres. I found it real interesting that after the start he was interviewed and he almost broke down. And I think people out there, you tend to forget how difficult it is to rehab your arm after an injury like he had, and all the hard work that goes into it, and the tough start he got off to, and to have that start kind of was a payment for all those services rendered, for all that hard work during that off season.
You know, the reason why we tend to forget is because comebacks from Tommy John surgery have become so routine now. So many pitchers have it, and most of them not only bounce back, but many of them seem to be better than ever a year and a half, 2 years after surgery.
You know what goes through the mind of a pitcher when you get injured for the first time, and I know when I had my arm operated on the first time, is your baseball mortality flashes in front of your eyes, and you know, boy, I might not be able to play again.
2-2. Santana fouls it off.
You know, am I going to be the same pitcher I was before? If you're an everyday player, am I going to have the same speed?
Well, it's a great tribute to these two guys facing each other right now, that they've not only come back from a season on the sidelines and surgery, but have come back as good as ever. Rolled out to shortstop, and Furcal throws out Santana. Now, neither one throws as hard as they did in their best days, but for this quality of pitcher, and we've seen this time and time again, that may not matter as much as it might for a run-of-the-mill pitcher.
They just, you know, they're on a different wavelength as far as pitching acumen. They'll get it done somehow, some way.
And I think when you lose a little velocity and you've got the great secondary pitch like Wainwright has, it makes you a better pitcher, more intelligent. You're going to locate your fastball better, where before when you threw 3-4 mile an hour faster, you can get away with one.
Baxter slugs one out to center, and right there is Beltran waiting for it. So Wainwright has himself a 1-2-3 inning, and we are through 5. Santana back to the mound for the 6th to face Beltran. 2-0 Mets. Where one swing could win it for New York. He whips it to deep right. That ball is out of here! Out of here! The Mets win the ball game. Beltran with a walk-off 2-run homer in the bottom of the ninth. One of many memorable moments for Carlos Beltran as a Met. Walk-off home run against the Cardinals. It was the day that Carlos Delgado hit his 400th home run, a grand slam, and Pujols hit a couple of home runs in that game, and the Mets came from way back to win. Beltran 0 for 2 tonight. He struck out and hit a soft liner to short, and he pulls that one just foul. Just foul.
Oh, nice play by the ball boy down there. Good hands.
Came very close to being the Cardinals' first hit off Santana tonight.
Oh boy, I tell you what.
Adrian Johnson, the third base umpire. And if it didn't kick up chalk, it came awfully close.
Nice play.
Beltran, Holiday, and Craig for the Cardinals in the top of the 6th. And it's pulled to third, one hop to David Wright. And he throws out Beltran one away.
Boy, it looked fair. It had a big hook on it. Look at that.
Oh, that's fair.
That's fair.
Fair ball.
Oh boy.
And it did kick up chalk. Wow.
Get an eye chart.
Well, if things progress as they're going right now, that could be an enormous call historically.
Man. Yep.
Rain falling. Cardinals, the best offensive team in the National League, any way you want to measure it, and Santana has held them hitless so far.
Jose Oquendo is just giving it to third base umpire, giving it to him.
Oh, they are really chin to chin now.
Why not? He blew the call. It's all right for Jose to get on him.
And Mike Matheny's just wandered out of the dugout, walking from one end to the other just to be there in case Oquendo needs help.
Oquendo's way back on purpose. He's just giving it to him.
Well, Special games always seem to have little gifts.
Look at this. There, John.
Here we go. Here we go. Okendo is going to get himself run from this game if he hasn't already.
Well,
it was clearly the wrong call. Adrian Johnson just missed it. It was clearly, as we saw it on a replay, a fair ball off the bat of Beltran.
He's just telling him, I just looked at it, Adrian. It was fair.
Adrian's got to calm down.
Don't tell me.
All you have to do is look at the spot where the ball hit. There's no chalk there anymore.
You might not be able to see it. And listen, Matheny, once he saw Jose going at it with Adrian Johnson, that was enough for him. You never see Okendo argue with anyone.
This umpire, who's doing the arguing? The umpire or the manager?
Well, I don't know what he's arguing about. He was wrong. He should just take it, and that's it.
Well, he has not ejected Okendo from the game, apparently. Here's the shot again. Clearly, it's a fair ball. He hit the chalk. All it has to do is hit any piece of the chalk, and it's a fair ball. Here's your Coors Light freeze cam. So the Mets get a break there, and Santana gets a huge break.
Well, a young umpire trying to stand his ground, but on unsure footing.
It's a lot of arguing for not throwing either gentleman out of the game as Santana throws a good changeup to Holiday 1-1. So that gives you an idea that he kind of knows that he might have missed the call.
And then it's a positive thing. At least everyone's still in the ball game.
1-1 to Holiday, and the changeup blown away. 2-1. Holiday is flied to right and walked. Santana has walked 4. It's the first time since June of 2010 that he's walked 4 in a game. So his pitch count is higher than he would like. And it certainly makes you start to speculate if Santana keeps his no-hit bid intact. There seems to be no chance, given what we've heard from Terry Collins about his limitations pitch count wise, that he'd be allowed to finish this game.
Collins, when asked today, 110 is the number.
He said that could go to 112, 115, but there's no way they're going to stretch beyond that. And he didn't say just now, he said at any point this season.
Yes.
Because of Santana's status as a pitcher coming back from major shoulder surgery.
And Terry's experience of talking with other managers who've dealt with pitchers coming off surgeries.
Well, that's a move in the right direction, is it not? I like to hear 110, 115.
Swing and a miss, and Holiday out on the changeup. 6 strikeouts now for Santana.
Right down the pipe. He swung right under it. He wasn't fooled. He's on it. He just swung under it.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Alan Craig will come to bat. Craig is fly deep to center and popped to first. 0 for 2. And he runs one inside. 1-0.
I think the pitch count is up also, Gary and Keith, because Gary Cederstrom, the home plate umpire, has not given any inside pitch to Santana. Called inside pitch.
90th pitch of the night here, and it's low and away to Craig. 2-0. David Freese would be next. Santana coming off a 4-hit shutout against the Padres. He's got 14 consecutive scoreless innings under his belt. And that changeup is called a strike. 2-1. Alan Craig, first game back from the disabled list. And now Santana behind 3-1. Well, for a guy who is not allowed to hit, he has been behind in the count quite a bit. Postponed in Washington, rain delay in Philly, playing here in the rain as the storm moves up the East Coast. 3-1 from Santana, and a pop-up. Davis coming over into foul ground. What's the wind going to do with it? He circles and grabs it. The wind is hellacious right now. Santana even better. Kirk Neuenhuis leads off the home 6th inning for New York, and he drills one into right center for a base hit. So Neuenhuis has his second hit of the night. Had an infield hit in the 4th that sparked a Mets rally. Mets will try and do the same here in the 6th. First, we'll check in with the studio. Chris Carlin for a Fujifilm game break. All right, Chris, here's David Wright, who doubled over the head of Beltran in center field in the 4th inning to fuel the Mets' 2-run inning, which represents the only 2 runs in this game. Mentioned earlier, the Mets have 8 left-handed bats in the lineup tonight, and our friend Bob Waterman of Elias points out, only fitting, the only right-handed bat in the lineup is a guy named Wright.
Very good.
Does Bob ever take a night off?
No.
No.
Smothered by Molina, a ball and a strike. I don't think Bob's missed a Mets game in, I don't know, 30 years.
So when we're on the road, does he go over to Yankee Stadium?
No, I think he watches us on TV.
Yeah, he's like Elias's beautiful mind. He just crunching numbers all day long. I'm
liking Bob more and more with the more information I hear about him.
You know, he's in the food room. You can say hi.
He's kind of like you, Keith. You know, when you're not working, you're following every pitch on television. Lucas Duda on deck. David's double was his 18th of the year, 2nd in the National League behind Joey Votto.
And really a ball that Carlos Beltran misplayed. And a lot of swirling winds here that Beltran overran that fly ball really and went over his head in right center.
And the reason we always say that is because very rarely does anything go over his head, because Carlos has always traditionally played a deep center field.
Slider that didn't really break, and it's 3-1 now to Wright. Check it, 2-2. Wainwright working to a much lower pitch count tonight than Santana. And that curveball didn't break much either. 3-2.
I think you send Nunez here big time, without a doubt.
Well, Wright has not been striking out at nearly the rate that he has in the past, as Santana is left alone in the dugout.
Absolutely.
Molina, the only X factor in this play.
There goes Neuenhuis. David rips one down the left field line, but foul. Adrian Johnson got that call perfect. Meanwhile, as Santana waits in the dugout, worth pointing out that while he threw 96 pitches in 9 innings in his last start, he's thrown 93 in 6 innings tonight.
Now he's got the 4 walks in this ball game. That's the only base runners he's allowed.
Neuenhuis runs again, and Wright fouls it off. Well, the 6-inning no-hit bid by Santana matches the longest for a Met this year. John Neese, in his first start of the season against the Braves, went 6.
Starting to get very lonely over there where Santana's sitting.
He's just rounding into form. Neuenhuis went on the first 2 3-2 pitches.
He will again.
And time asked for.
If you can, you don't want to release that pitch if you're a pitcher. If you can. Sometimes you can't, because you don't want to tip your hand what you were throwing.
Can you hurt yourself by not releasing it?
If you're going to hurt yourself, let it go. But
it's an equal mind game with the hitter too.
Yeah,
take it from me. Is he going to throw it again?
8th pitch of the at bat. Neuenhuis runs, and it's outside for ball 4, and the Mets have 2 men on. So a terrific turn at bat for Wright. 2nd walk given up by Wainwright. 2 men on for Lucas Duda. We'll check in with Kevin.
Duda swung at the first pitch at the sac fly before, swung at the first pitch against Lee the other night, hit a home run off him. Little different. He's never really done that. I talked to Dave Hudgens about it. He said, you know, I've always kind of reminded him the goal is to get a good ball to hit, first pitch or not. And, you know, for him, I think the other night against Lee, it helped that he saw him a couple times, took a couple of fastballs inside first, that couple of at-bats, and then jumped on that one for the home run. Some guys can't swing at a first pitch. I remember Scott Hatterberg in Oakland could never do it, but I like it. I like him being aggressive on that first one. See if he does it here.
Made him the subject of a movie.
Yeah, right.
Curveball is down from Wainwright for ball 1. Duda's sac fly drove in the Mets' first run tonight. His 27th run batted in. Daniel Murphy, who drove in the second run, is on deck.
Well, Murph pull on the infield. Duda, excuse me.
Oh, ties him up, and he stopped the swing. 2-0. Well, Duda hit those 2 home runs against lefties on Wednesday. This Cardinal pitching staff, though, is almost all right-handed. Their only lefty starter, Jaime Garcia, was scratched because of some elbow tenderness. So the Mets are facing 4 righty starters in this series, and they only have 1 lefty reliever. There's a strike. 2-1. Mark Zepchinski, although they did call up a second lefty today, a rookie named Sam Freeman, and whether Mike Matheny feels comfortable throwing him into the fray remains to be seen. So it should be a more comfortable series from that standpoint for the Mets left-hand hitters. High fly ball, deep right field. Back goes Craig to the warning track at the wall. It's out of here. Lucas Duda with a 3-run homer. His 3rd home run of the last 2 games. And it's 5-0 New York.
They come in waves.
Well, maybe he's heating up. And notice how quick Ronnie, that ball was in, not in enough, just missed enough. And that shows a little bat, to me, it shows more bat speed from Lucas. And let's say want it inside. It's belt high, another cutter that just didn't get there.
And I also think on a night when I believe it's very difficult to hit this ball out of the ballpark, shows you how much power Lucas has.
8 home runs on the year for Lucas. 3 of them in the span of 5 plate appearances.
Over at 30 RBI now, too.
1-1 to Murphy, who tripled in a run his last time up. We were just mentioning the rookie Sam Freeman, and there he is up in the Cardinal bullpen with the Cardinals now behind 5-0. And Murphy, it's a tapper off the mound, Wainwright, and he throws him out, 1 away. Well, Wainwright, in his first 5 starts of the year, allowed 7 home runs. He had not allowed any home runs in his last 5 starts before Duda took him deep. And so Wainwright, who had been just about impeccable his last 2 times out against the Padres and the Phillies, gets touched for 5 runs so far tonight.
He was just a little careful with David. He was trying to make sure that he kept this at a 2-run game, and it cost him against Duda.
Well, his cutter, it's been his nemesis tonight. He's missed with the cutter with this what, 8 left-hand hitters in this lineup. If you recall, to lead the inning off, Neuenhuis hit a cutter that didn't get in enough, and pretty much ditto with Duda in a 3-run bomb, and Murph hit a hanger. So 3 mistakes. He got hurt by it badly.
Well, when the Mets throw this lineup on the field against a right-hand pitcher, it's going to provide anybody with difficulties, even a guy the quality of a Wainwright. Was the high fastball, and it's 2-1 to Davis. Ike has walked and grounded out 0 for 1. Makes you wonder when Jason Bay comes back, will Terry still be tempted to run this almost all left-hand hitting lineup out there?
Jason Bay, when he comes back, he will be in the lineup all the time.
Well, then there's some major decisions. Who's going to be sent down? Who's going to be lopped off the roster?
Well, you have 40-man roster issues too. Chris Young is not on the 40-man roster. Pedro Beato, who could be here by the end of the weekend, is not on the 40-man roster. So there are a lot of issues for the front office to consider. Curveball struck him out. 6 strikeouts for Wainwright. 2 out in the inning.
Well, out in front again, stepping in the bucket more than I've noticed in a while. Ike, I know he's always stepped in the bucket, but that's something he may need to address.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now here's Tolle. Josh has taken a call, 3rd strike, and grounded to 1st in his return from the disabled list, and he takes a curveball strike. Well, Santana now nicely fortified with a 5-run lead. As Tolle lifts one to shallow center, and Beltran eases over, puts it away to end the inning, but the Mets tack on 3 on Duda's home run. Santana goes back to the mound. Been a big night for Johan Santana so far. Through 6 innings, he's held the Cardinals without a hit, but he's walked 4 while striking out 6, so he's thrown 93 pitches as he faces David Freese to start the 7th. Santana now fortified with a 5-0 lead. Freese has walked and flied to center 0 for 1. It'll be Freese, Molina, and Adams for the Cardinals. High fastball from Santana, and it's 0-2. Freese just doesn't look like the same hitter he was early this season when he got off to a tremendous start.
Injuries to your hands, huh, Keith? Hands and wrists. Looks like he's off balance almost.
Keith, I mean, Ronnie, if you are in this situation, if you're Santana, how do you approach these at bats? You know that if you want this thing to go on, you've got to get quick outs.
He's not thinking that way. I know that he knows that he hasn't given up a hit yet.
Will pop up on the right side. Should be easy for Ike Davis. 1 out.
But he has consistently showed every single start he's made for these Mets, he's all about the W. So that's what he is protecting. He is taking each batter, trying to get them out. And Terry Collins, I don't envy him right now talking to Dan Warthen. It's the only time you have a 5-0 lead, and neither manager or coach has a smile on their face.
I mean, right now at 97 pitches through 6 1/3, given the constraints that have been put on Johan, you'd have to think there's just no chance he can finish this game.
You know, if I'm a manager, I may have to get on the phone in the dugout and call Sandy Alderson and say, what do you want to do here?
Protect me now.
Sandy, I need some help here. Back up.
Molina 0 for 1 and a walk, and he fouls it off 1-1.
The one thing about Terry, as we've seen since he's been here, not afraid to make the really tough decision to protect his players. And
well, this inning is not the issue for Santana. It's what would follow in the 8th and 9th. 100th pitch on the way, and Molina takes low and in 2-1. 6 1/3 innings, the farthest any Met has taken a no-hitter since R.A. Dickey against the Phillies last September. 4th time in his career he's gone this far. And that changeup is down 3-1. Matt Adams, the first baseman, the only left-hand hitter in the lineup for the Cardinals tonight, waiting on deck. (3-1) coming to Molina, and a fly ball deep left field. Back goes Baxter onto the track. He makes the catch. What a play! And Baxter may be hurt, but he hangs onto the baseball. The umpire's coming out there, and he just now singles out because Baxter has not yet shown the ball, but he is shaken up after hitting the fence.
I think he hit his shoulder pretty hard here, obviously. He crashes into this wall. Yep.
Yep. Head and shoulder, perhaps. But in any event, Baxter makes a wonderful catch to keep the no-hit bid intact.
What a play.
Selling out for this play is Baxter.
Well, he knew what was at stake, and this is the way he's played anyway.
God, that's a catch.
I thought there was no chance he was going to make this play. See how
Using that speed, and you're right, he hit that shoulder awfully hard.
You know, he stumbled here. He wasn't able to turn to like get the flat of his back, the full part of his back against the wall, and just went up against his left shoulder.
Santana's reaction. Shades of Rusty Staub back in '73.
Terry Collins asking for a replacement.
Andres Torres is already running on the field, but right now the concern is for Mike Baxter. Ray Ramirez, the trainer, with him there, seated in front of the fence. Up on his feet, but clearly that left arm is a big concern.
Let's see where his wrist and the glove come into play here against the wall.
I don't see it.
No.
As he lay on the warning track, ball in his glove, the third base umpire Adrian Johnson ran about 200 feet out there to make sure that he had secured it. But you certainly have to be concerned about Mike Baxter and what kind of injury he may have sustained here in making a wonderful play to preserve Johan Santana's no-hit bid through 6 2/3. So Baxter, the hometown kid who has played so remarkably well for the Mets, and getting a big ovation. That's an awfully long walk.
Ooh.
Well, they say, well, we'll just very nicely done by Met fans there. If in the course of a no-hitter, what do they say? There's always 1 or 2, 3 plays.
There's always some gifts from the baseball gods, it seems.
Well, we've already seen 2. That great play and the bad call on the Beltran ball that should have been scored a base hit. Torres comes into play center. Neuenhuis moves to left. And now Matt Adams takes inside for ball 1. So now what if Santana having to wait these few minutes during the delay? Adams has struck out and walked tonight. And he takes it low 2-0.
I will say that everyone on that field and in the dugout is a little shaken up now, including the pitcher.
Santana behind 2-0 on Adams. And the rookie takes it low 3-0. And that pitch count inexorably begins to become untenable for Santana, up to 105, and you have to think this might be his last inning. The bullpen now is starting to work. There's a strike, 3-1. Bobby Parnell, first man up. Now the 3-1, and Adams hits a tapper down to first. Davis makes the play. Santana has a no-hit bid intact through 7. Now the question is, will he be able to continue beyond this? Mike Baxter helps Santana get through the 7th with a tremendous play at the cost of his shoulder. 5-0 New York. Home 7th inning. Omar Quintanilla leads off for the Mets. The intrigue right now is in the empty on deck circle. Johan Santana went down the tunnel when the inning ended with 107 pitches under his belt and a no-hitter intact through 7. And there's nobody in the on deck circle. Santana's place in the lineup.
Here we go. Not the bad boy.
Terry Collins has.
They're going looking for Santana. He's going to keep him in.
He's looked down the aisle toward the tunnel a couple of times. And here comes Johan. He's putting on his helmet.
I agree.
Well, Bobby Parnell was up in the bullpen. He is now sat down. Santana's got his helmet on. So at 107 pitches with 7 no-hit innings under his belt, Santana's going to get a shot for at least one more. And you just heard the reaction to his entry to the on-deck circle.
How many games, Gary?
Tonight is number 8,020. Ricky Bonas all alone. Over the mound for Call. Another one he couldn't field. This one didn't hit the bag, but it was just beyond his reach. And Quintanilla has an infield hit, reminiscent of Neuenhuis's hit back in the 4th.
It didn't hit the bag, but he was affected by that.
He was. And it should be ruled an error. I don't know what they're going to do. And a big applause for Santana.
It is a hit for Quintanilla. And Santana will go up there to bunt. Not quite the thunderous ovation I thought he was going to get as he came to bat here. That was a little odd. 6 outs away from potentially the first no-hitter in Mets history, and he got a smattering of applause as he came to bat. And he gets the bunt down nicely, and Molina makes the play on him. 2-3 on the sacrifice, moving Quintanilla to second. It's a better hand for the bunt.
Where are we, in Montreal?
This is can't sit in your seat kind of baseball, isn't it?
One would suspect. So Santana will resume his lonely seat at the end of the bench. Andres Torres will come up for the first time. Took over for the injured Mike Baxter in the last half inning. We'll get a report on Baxter as soon as we can. And Andres takes the curveball from Wainwright outside for ball 1.
Some people get jaded when something's happened to them 8,020 times in a row.
They're just waiting for something bad to happen. Is that what you're saying? Torres rips one down the right field line, but foul. Let's answer our AT&T trivia question. We asked, who are the 7 members of the 300 homer, 300 stolen base club? We opined that there might be 2 guys with the same last name on that list. And Wainwright struggling with his curveball now. I guess both Bonzes are there. Andre Dawson we forgot. Steve Finley we forgot. Reggie Sanders never would have gotten that. Mays and A-Rod the other 2. And Carlos Beltran 1 stolen base away from that club. Now Wainwright behind on Torres 3-1. Now Wainwright up to 95 pitches now, and he certainly has appeared as though he is losing some steam. They've got the lefty Freeman up in the bullpen waiting to make his big league debut. And Torres takes it wide for ball 4. So the Mets have 2 men on. And here comes Mike Matheny out of the Cardinal dugout with the left-hand hitter Neuenhuis coming up. Sunday it's a one-on-one with Tim Burdock. Find out about the phone call that changed his life forever. Plus see all the highlights from the long-awaited return of Banner Day on Mets Weekly, presented by WB Mason, Sunday at 6, only on SNY. Pitching change for the Cardinals. Sam Freeman in to make his big league debut. Wainwright exits. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. 5-0 Mets. We'll be right back. Well, Adam Wainwright out of the game after 6 1/3 innings. And the 24-year-old left-hander Sam Freeman out of the University of Kansas will make his major league debut.
32nd round pick from that University of Kansas. The left-hander has averaged just about a strikeout per inning in his minor league career.
Kirk Neuenhuis is 2 for 3 tonight, and he's pushed his batting average up over 300 for the year. First and second and 1 out. Mets looking to add to their 5-0 lead. And a fastball in for a strike. 0-1. Wainwright went 6 1/3, 6 hits, 5 runs so far, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, a home run by Duda that crushed his night. Quintanilla and Torres aboard, and Neuenhuis takes that fastball wide. 1-1. Sam Freeman began the year in Double-A, made 6 appearances at Triple-A Memphis before being called up to give the Cardinals a second lefty in their bullpen. They had a second lefty earlier this year, J.C. Romero, but they let him go. He was just ineffective. Cardinals have been making lots of changes in their bullpen. Got close games for them last year. Fernando Salas is in the minor leagues now.
Remember, Lance Lynn moved into the rotation. He was a big part of that bullpen late in the postseason.
Nieuwenhuis late on the fastball, 2-2. Well, the Cardinals in May had a bullpen ERA of 5.44, which is right about where the Mets bullpen has been for the full season. Another new member of the Cardinal bullpen, Michael Plato, is up in the Cardinal pen. And now it's 3-2 to Nieuwenhuis with David Wright on deck.
No, Freeman hasn't gotten his breaking ball over yet.
Bobby Parnell continues to hang out near the bullpen mound. He was throwing in the last inning behind Santana. Johan has batted in this inning. There's ball 4 and the bases are loaded for Wright. So Sam Freeman walks the first man he faces in the major leagues. Celebrate Mets great and saves leader John Franco when he's inducted into the Mets Hall of Fame at Citi Field this Sunday night at 7:30 with a special on-field pregame ceremony. Then it's the Mets Cardinals in the series finale at 8:05. Get your tickets at Mets.com. So a bases loaded opportunity for David Wright. David tonight has doubled and walked. He's scored 2 runs. He's now just 2 runs behind Jose Reyes for the all-time Met career record. Already this year, David has moved into second place on the Mets hits list.
Have to be careful if you're Nieuwenhuis at first. Molina loves to throw the ball around the infield, trying to catch you napping.
And now Freeman behind on Wright, 2-0.
Telling all those fielders 2-0 duck.
Mets have hit 1 grand slam this year. It came from an unlikely candidate, Mike Nickius. David takes his grand slam rip and misses 2-1.
Boy, big rip. I think David was going for a granny here. Big uppercut going for the bomb.
He has 4 grand slams in his career. The last one came 6 years ago. And now he's got a 3-1 advantage. Mike Matheny leaving the young lefty in to face David Wright, who chews up lefties about as well as anybody in the game. Now on 3-1, it's low, ball 4, and that forces in a run. Quintanilla comes in to score. David Wright with his 31st run batted in. 6-0 New York. 3 straight walks issued by Cardinal pitching, including the first 2 that Freeman's faced in the majors.
An inauspicious start.
Well, Duda, fresh off a 3-run homer his last at bat, and fresh off 2 home runs against lefties on Wednesday, will bat here against the lefty with the bases loaded. Duda with a 4 RBI night, matching his career high, and he takes that breaking ball for a strike. Duda with 3 home runs in his last 5 plate appearances.
This young man's got a good arm, just that heart's pumping.
Yep.
Here you are, big league debut in New York. The other guy's pitching a no-hitter. It's not easy, is it? That's the other guy.
Bases loaded.
Here's the pitch to Guerin right here. 2 sliders in a row. Look for some cheese out over the plate.
Hey, Ronnie, if you're in Santana's spot, does it bother you that this inning might last a while?
You know, I've only been in the taken through the 7th inning maybe 3 or 4 times in my career, and it wasn't until after I left New York. And I would say yes. I mean, you're itching to get back out there. You know, you feel like you have enough runs right now, but you know, the hitters are taught to add on.
2-2 now to Duda. So Freeman finally able to throw a couple of breaking balls for strikes in this at bat.
He's taken a lot off of it. He was overthrowing early.
I think the bigger problem, Gary, is for huge inning Santana to be sitting so long. I think that's a bigger question.
Stiffening up.
Yep.
Now the 2-2, and Duda fouls back the fastball. Well, there your Met home run leaders, brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Duda with his home run today now has 8, 2 more than Scott Hairston. Daniel Murphy still looking for his first home run, waiting on deck. 2-2 from Freeman, and Duda foul tips it for strike 3. So Freeman has his first big league strikeout.
He's got a flat slider. Foul tipped it. He's on it. A little reach.
So now with the bases loaded and 2 out, here's Daniel Murphy, who tripled in a run back in the 4th, his first triple of the season. He's also grounded out twice, 1 for 3. Nets have had only 6 hits tonight, but they've made them count.
Doesn't wear a jacket in between innings, just wraps that left arm, that valuable left arm, in a towel.
All by his lonesome.
So the question is, Ronnie, how far will they let him go?
Well, the reason is they have Bobby Parnell warming up, is that if the decision is made for him, I'm not going to mention what would happen. You guys all know out there. Then Parnell would immediately come into the game.
Yes.
If not, hardest decision in baseball.
Toward the whole base hit for Murphy. Torres is in. Neuenhuis heading home. Here comes the throw by Holiday to the plate. It skips to the backstop. 2-run score on the base hit by Murphy, and it's 8-0 New York. So Murphy with his 2nd and 3rd RBIs of the night. 22 for the year for Daniel.
The wrong guy to be throwing sliders to.
Yeah.
Wrong guy. And that's just how you hit a slider, and Daniel goes that way so naturally.
Well, the pitcher throws it because he wants the hitter to try to pull it for a ground ball double play, not Murph.
So the books closed on Wainwright. He gives up 7 runs and 6 hits in 6 1/3 innings. 8-0 New York, and here's Davis, the 8th man up in the inning. And he breaks his bat and rolls out to 3rd. The barrel of the bat goes into the stands as Freese throws out Davis to end the inning. But the Mets tack on 3, and now the drama rests with Santana as he goes to the mound for the 8th inning. Well, the scoreboard says it all. What it doesn't say, though, is the number of pitches that Johan Santana, who's recovering from shoulder surgery, has thrown tonight. That number is 107. The Mets' stated limit for Santana this year is 110, maybe fudging to 115. Tyler Green leads off the 8th. First pitch swinging, pops it up. Omar Quintanilla trailing out. In comes Neuenhuis, and Neuenhuis avoids the collision and makes the catch. A little bit of nerves, perhaps, given the situation.
Well, this has happened before with Neuenhuis. He's got to call. He's got to yell a little louder.
He's got to be more assertive. That's what he's got to be.
He's got to take charge. He's the general. Now, I played behind guys with no hitters, and as a fielder, Gary, right now you are on your toes.
I'll take that back. You couldn't be more assertive than Kirk was there.
I think that was Quintanilla. Just wanted to make sure that if Neuenhuis wasn't there, he would make the play, but got a little too close. Now Shane Robinson will be the pinch hitter, hitting .243 on the year. 1 out in the 8th. And a fastball strike.
He might have been a veteran shortstop who's had a lot of innings, knowing that I'm not going to let this drop in. No way, no how.
Meanwhile, Tyler Green really helped out Santana, putting that first pitch in play. Well, there's Elvin Ramirez, who just joined the Mets today, and now with an 8-run lead. Should the Mets need a relief pitcher, why not run Ramirez out there? Change up, fouled away, and now it's 1-2. And now Santana is at 111. Rafael Furcal on deck.
This is like a runaway train, man. This is almost being taken out of Terry Collins' hands.
1-2. Missed up and in, and did it hit him? Apparently so, or at least Robinson says it did. No indication from the home plate umpire, and he says come on back. Gary Cederstrom was having none of it, and now Mike Matheny will come out to argue.
Right on that dish, Keith.
Yes. It got him. It hit him on the hand.
Now the question is, and there was no indication from Cederstrom, did he not see it, or did he rule that Robinson made no effort to get out of the way?
You cannot say that he didn't try to get out of the way, because it's just, it got him.
Just off that knuckle on the end of his hand.
The Coors Light freeze count. Well, that's the second call that's gone in favor of the Mets tonight.
Has it gone in favor of the Mets? Robinson gets another chance to hit.
Well, we'll see. 2-2 coming. Strike three call. Seven strikeouts for Santana. 2 out of the 8th. How much pressure is on that guy? How do you weigh it?
I feel like it's a runaway train, Gary. That's what it feels like to me.
He's going to go out in the 9th if he gets Furcal.
It's bigger than anything here.
The chant of Johan from the crowd at Citi Field. John Mayne, second to last day of 2007 against the Marlins, broken up by Paul Hoover on an infield hit. Now it's 2-0 to Furcal. Furcal is 0 for 3. He's hit the ball in the air 3 times.
How many deep breaths are you taking in between pitches here, Keith, if you're in that on the field?
Carlos Beltran would be next. Santana's retired the last 11. And now it's 3-0. He's walked 4 tonight, struck out 7.
I guarantee you every fielder out there is on his toes, on point.
Three and 0 to Furcal, and taking all the way a strike.
Tough call for Santana. Do you pitch to the situation?
Yep.
Do you pitch to the game?
Agreed.
There's ball 4, and the Cardinals have a 2-out base runner, the 5th walk given up by Santana. And now Carlos Beltran, who by all odds should have had a hit his last time up, will be coming up, and Terry Collins heads out to the mound, and he's out there to take Johan's temperature.
That did not look good, that last changeup, by the way, to Furcal, and he's going to ask Johan to give him an honest answer, which Johan is not going to give him. Not going to happen.
He's not coming out.
So Santana will get a crack to finish the 8th inning. The closest the Cardinals have come to a hit tonight was the foul ball that Beltran hit in the 6th inning. It appeared to hit the chalk along the left field line behind third base, but it was ruled a foul ball, and then Beltran grounded out. And Carlos takes a strike. He's never thrown more than 125. That was in that wonderful second to last day start in 08. And Beltran badly fooled. 0-2. Matt Holliday would be next. That's breaking the bank with Santana tonight. And Beltran flares one. Quintanilla in, and Murphy picked it off in front of him to end the inning. Santana, the first Met since Seaver to take a no-hit bid to the 9th inning. Johan Santana by himself at the end of the Mets dugout. 8 no-hit innings under his belt, 122 pitches, and apparently is going to have an opportunity to go out there for the 9th inning the first Met pitcher since Tom Seaver, who did it 3 times, to take a no-hitter into the 9th inning. Meanwhile, Michael Clayton comes in to pitch the bottom of the 8th for St. Louis, and Josh Thole takes a strike. Tolley's 0 for 3 tonight in his return to action. What a way to come off the disabled list. Forget about the hitting.
You're right.
He's caught 8 no-hit innings. What must be going through Tolley's mind?
I've never ever wanted to see 1, 2, 3 for the Mets when they're on offense, but this might be the first time.
Clayton pitched in 3 games for the Cardinals last year, as that one fouled off, and it's 1-2. You've got the rest of the team, and then in a separate section of the dugout, Senor Santana. He's never allowed fewer than 3 hits in a complete game in his career. Thole fouls one off the mask. Well, today is the 8,020th game in Mets history. They've had 35 one-hitters. They've had a lot of pitchers throw them before or after, and they've had 3 instances where a pitcher's taken a no-hit bid into the 9th, all by one man, Tom Seaver, before tonight. Thole goes down on strikes, and the toss by Molina for the first out. Well, there have been a couple of instances tonight where the Cardinals might have had a hit. This was the first one in the 6th inning. Carlos Beltran, it's a seed down the line. Adrian Johnson calls it a foul ball, but replay clearly shows the ball hit the line and should have been ruled a fair ball base hit. And then there was the catch by Mike Baxter, on which he injured himself. That came in the 7th inning against Yadier Molina, crashing into the fence in left field and hanging on to the ball. Those are the closest that the Cardinals have come to a hit tonight. Quintanilla takes a strike. Omar Quintanilla has a base hit tonight. Santana out on deck to take his turn. And just to make it more interesting, the Cardinals will have the heart of their batting order coming up in the 9th inning. Matt Holliday, Alan Craig, David Freese. Two balls and a strike to Quintanilla.
I'll tell you, in some ways, Santana being on deck has got to be a welcome relief. Not sitting in that dugout just grinding. Got to think about something else than that inning, right? Taking in that bat.
I agree.
Getting ready.
The bullpen's quiet. It'll be active though once Santana takes them out. 2-2 to Quintanilla. No, this was in the 7th inning. Yadier Molina making a bid for an extra base hit.
3-1 count, fell behind. What a play by Baxter. And he looks like he came out of this game with a shoulder injury of some sort. We're not sure. But that is one of the 2 plays that we just showed you that have made the difference so far in this. You know what we're observing.
Well, you know, some would argue that the call that Adrian Johnson got wrong is an argument for more instant replay, which has been the subject of a lot of discussion. You know, just as Armando Galarraga did not get a perfect game because of an umpire's call, you know, no hitters can be formed around umpires' calls as well. And whether that's right or wrong is a subject of quite a bit of debate. Can't be held by Molina. Still 2-2 to Quintanilla.
Just as an aside here, I don't think anybody really cares. This kid throws pretty hard.
We'll talk about him tomorrow.
We'll let him know you mentioned. And now full count to Quintanilla. I think Santana's going to get a bigger ovation this time when he comes to bat.
I think so.
Than he did in the 7th.
I agree. They just gave him a bigger applause when he got the sack in the 7th. Sacrifice bunt.
Now the 3-2, and Quintanilla pops it up. Who's going to get it? Right at the corner.
Oh.
And Holiday running out of room.
Someone's going to get a little talking to.
Well, he can field, but he knows not his place.
Stool removal problem?
Yep.
Oh. He's not going to raise his head.
A lot tougher down there than people think, I'll tell you that.
Yes.
Well, you run out of room in a hurry. There's no place to go. You got 3 fielders converging on you in that corner right near the stands.
Well,
it's a lonely place.
Leave it to Al on camera 2 to put the spotlight on him.
Quintanilla hits a rocket down the line, and that's a base hit. It caroms out to Craig, so Quintanilla will have to stop it first. But a bullet by Omar Quintanilla for his 2nd hit of the night, and now Santana will come to bat. Johan 0 for 2 with a sacrifice bunt tonight. And he takes a strike. Preliminary word on Mike Baxter. Left shoulder contusion, undergoing more testing now. A strike to Santana. Andres Torres waiting. The Mets 8 runs, 8 hits. The Cardinals no runs, no hits. And not bothering with the bunt with an 8-0 lead.
Santana has no interest in swinging the bat, has no interest in really getting on base.
He'd love to take a couple more strikes and go sit down. There's one. Two. And now it's a full count to Santana. He might have to run the bases.
It's like he's fumbling up, trying to make it out.
Now the 3-2 from Plato. And that's right down the middle for strike 3. So Santana takes his strikeout.
That shows where his focus is.
Intelligent at bat.
Now he can go ponder for a moment what awaits him when he takes the mound for the top of the 9th. Matt Holliday front of mind. Here's Torres up for the 2nd time. Walked and scored in the 7th. Down to first, and Adams makes the play to end the inning. So the Mets are done in the bottom of the 8th. And now Santana will prepare himself for the 9th, and we will keep it right here as Johan Santana prepares to go where no Met has gone before.
Beam me up, Scotty.
274th start. He's thrown 1,975 and 2/3 innings in his career. 42 National League wins.
What's he thinking, Ronnie?
Well, this is a place that very few pitchers go. So there's no school for this. They don't teach you this in the minor leagues. This is one of those moments that great pitchers and not so great pitchers have had their shot at. Right here, his only thought is he knows who the hitter's up. He knows that they have many at-bats against each other. He knows how to go after him. What's he got left in the tank?
Well, I feel the pitcher that Santana is, he's going to reach back for something extra here. And you're going to have to beat him.
Elvin Ramirez, just called up today, will stay busy in the bullpen. But Santana, it would appear, is going to be allowed to stay around as long as it takes.
Nothing against Elvin Ramirez. I would love if he doesn't make his Major League debut tonight.
As always tomorrow. The Cardinals have not been no-hit in 22 years since Fernando Valenzuela threw one against them in 1990. The Mets, who are in their 51st season, have never had a pitcher seal the deal. 3 times Tom Seaver took no-hitters into the night. The most famous one, his first in 1969, when he had his perfect game broken up with 1 out of the 9th at Shea Stadium by Jimmy Qualls. He also went 8 1/3 against the Padres in '72. Leron Lee broke that up, and he took a no-hitter 2 outs into the 9th in a scoreless game at Wrigley Field, and Joe Wallace broke it up in 1975. And now, 37 years later, Johan Santana takes the mound for the 9th inning with a no-hit bid intact.
Last time I felt like this as a man, I used to put stirrups on.
Matt Holliday leads off. Line drive, center field. On comes Torres, and he gets there. 1 out. 1 pitch, 1 out of the 9th.
I have friends here today who came, it's their first game ever.
Well, this happens every day, guys. Alan Craig is 0 for 3. "33 years old, two-time Cy Young Award winner, but now trying to add an indelible piece to his resume." Great changeup. 1-1. They all know the history.
How do you even decide what pitch to throw? If you're in any other inning, you'd pop an inside fastball to keep him loose. Do you do it here?
Left field, Neuenhuis coming on. 2 out.
Probably asking yourself, why are the Mets players not on the top step of the dugout? That's because they're where they've been all game long. No sense moving now.
David Freese, the last man in Santana's way. Skipping away from Tolle. Ball 1.
Almost 2 near bloopers to start this inning.
He's about to throw his 130th pitch. 5 more than he's ever thrown in a major league game. And now it's 2-0 to Freese. Johan has walked 5 tonight. He's struck out 7.
Bet the house on the 2-0 change, don't you, Keith?
And now ball 3. Yadier Molina, who has broken Mets' hearts before, would be next.
Do you give a 3-0 hit sign? I think so.
And Freese takes it for a strike. 3-1.
I'd let him hit.
Hitter have anxiety here.
Slow ground ball, foul. That was shades of Paul Hoover right there. And now he's 1 strike away. Season, Johan Santana has thrown the first no-hitter in New York Mets history. This has been a franchise known for its pitchers. From Seaver to Kuzmin to Gooden to Darling to Cone and on and on and on. But it has taken till this day, June the 1st, 2012, for the Mets to have a pitcher throw a no-hitter. His name is Johan Santana. He had major shoulder surgery. He has come back to pitch not only effectively in the majors, but to pitch a brilliant no-hit performance tonight against the St. Louis Cardinals.
In his 99th start for the New York Mets, his 43rd win, his no-hit history.
And let's make one point. He did it against the National League's #1 hitting team, leading in home runs, batting average, runs, the top offensive club in the National League.
World champions.
Bravo.
Kevin Burkhardt is standing by with Johan Santana.
Johan, you just pitched the first no-hitter in New York Mets history.
Amazing. I mean, coming into this season, I was just hoping to come back, you know, and stay healthy and help this team, you know, and now I'm in this situation in the greatest, you know, city, baseball. I'm very, very happy and happy for you guys. Finally, the first one.
I'm nervous watching the 9th inning. What is it like for you to go out there in the 9th with everyone on their feet, knowing what's at stake?
I was not gonna swing, that's for sure. You know, in that inning, I was just hoping that you know, everything worked out quick, trying to get ahead on the count. I mean, it was a crazy night, you know, trying to command my fastball, moving all over the place, but I was able to locate and command and, you know, get some quick outs and get out of there.
How about on that final swing and miss? What did it feel like?
That's the greatest feeling ever, you know.
Even with the boot, Justin Turner finds a way to get a pie into it. He's got the bum ankle, but he still found a way to come out with the pie.
At least I got whipped cream and not shaving cream.
You know, I noticed when you came in before the 9th, after the 8th, I should say, you had the conversation with Terry Collins, and it didn't look like that baseball was coming out of your glove. What did he say to you, and what did you say back to him there?
He just asked me how I felt, and I told him I felt good. You know, he came right next to me, and he just told me that I was his hero. And then, you know, at that point, I told him, listen, just gonna go out there, trying to do my job, and try to go as deep as I can in the game. And tonight, he was not gonna take me out of the game. No chance.
Even if you had 200 pitches, right?
No chance.
Johan, just amazing tonight for you. We have to talk about the catch by Mike Baxter. Off that shot by Yadier Molina, did you think he was going to make that catch?
You know, when Yadier hit that ball, I didn't know. And then when I saw him running back into the warning track and he made that play, it was great. It was amazing, you know. An outstanding play and saved the game. And, you know, all these guys, I want to thank them because they will be part of what we did tonight, what we accomplished. And then we're just going to continue playing, you know, and play the game. And unfortunately, he had to come out of the game, but we won and we got it done.
All the long road back from shoulder surgery, was it worth it?
No question, you know. I mean, I work hard every day. You know, last year was a tough year, but I always wanted to come back. Always wanted to take the ball and go out on the mound, and definitely to get you know, accomplish this. It was a great thing, great feeling, and it's all for you guys. Thank you very much.
Johan, congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Johan Santana. Wow. Guys, back to you.
Well, it is a seminal night in New York Mets history. 27,069 people had the fortune to witness it live, but millions and millions of Met fans across the metropolitan area and around the world know that this night will live forever. After 50-plus seasons of Mets baseball, it has finally happened. Johan Santana, the man to do it. And when you add in the unlikely nature of his recovery from major shoulder surgery, it makes the moment even more stupendous.